9/11 Conspiracy Theory, presented by Colton G. and Sebastian G. The incident. On a cool, sunny day in New York, an event happened that would forever change the course of America. On September 11th, 2001, also known as 9/11, the United States experienced a major terrorist attack. 4 airplanes were hijacked. 2 were flown into the World Trade Center towers in New York City. Another plane hit the Pentagon, and a 4th crashed in Pennsylvania after passengers tried to stop the attackers. Nearly 3,000 people lost their lives. This event changed security, travel, and history in the United States, and it is remembered every year. The idea. After the attacks on September 11th, 2001, some people began to believe conspiracy theories. They claimed that 9/11 was an inside job. They believed the U.S. government may have known about the attacks ahead of time, or was somehow involved. These beliefs came from confusion, fear, and mistrust after such a shocking event. There were also misunderstandings about how the buildings collapsed. However, official investigations found no evidence that the attacks were planned or carried out by the U.S. government. What people thought common claims used in 9/11 conspiracy theories, and why they are disputed. Claim number 1, the towers fell too fast. Some people say the buildings collapsed at near free-fall speed, which they believe means explosives were used. Why experts disagree. Engineers explain that once key supports failed, gravity caused a rapid collapse. This has happened in other large structural failures without explosives. Claim number 2, jet fuel can't melt steel. This is one of the most popular claims. Why experts disagree. Steel does not need to melt to fail. The fires weakened the steel enough for floors and columns to collapse. Claim number 3, Building 7 wasn't hit by a plane. World Trade Center building. 7 collapsed later that day, which raised questions. Why experts disagree. Investigations found the collapse was caused by fires burning for hours, with no firefighting water available, leading to internal structural failure. Claim number 4, the government knew it would happen. Some believe warnings before 9/11 mean it was allowed to happen on purpose. Why experts disagree. Intelligence warnings were vague and not specific. Investigations found no evidence the attacks were knowingly allowed. Our decision. We do not believe that 9/11 was a conspiracy. Multiple independent investigations found no evidence that it was an inside job. Experts in engineering, aviation, and national security explain how the attacks and building collapses happened based on facts and science. Many conspiracy claims rely on misunderstandings or coincidences, rather than proven evidence. For these reasons, we trust the conclusions of the official investigations over unproven theories. Thank you in advance, and because after the video, there is not another slide.
This is the north side of the North Tower, and this is where the first plane hit.
They are images already seared into the memories of Americans. But the pictures taken by retired NYPD helicopter pilot Gregory Semendegger show 9/11 from a perspective that few people have ever seen.
I happened to have a camera, and in between the surveys of the roofs and trying to see if people made it to the roof, I just kept snapping pictures.
The photos have finally been released more than 8 years after the attack. Semendegger was in the air and on the scene just minutes after the first plane hit, and was there when the second plane slammed into the South Tower.
I did see the fireball, and I saw the papers that were blown out from the windows in the offices were just unbelievable. It looked like a confetti parade.
The photos show the massive scope of the 9/11 attacks while showing the personal impact as well.
Where all the smoke is coming from here, these are people that had broken the windows on their offices and were trying to get air.
None of us, except for these aviation helicopter pilots, were looking literally with a bird's eye view of the devastation that was happening below.
Jan Ramirez is the curator of the planned 9/11 museum that will be part of a permanent memorial at Ground Zero. She says pictures like this take on a different meaning as the years pass.
They were shocking in 2001 and 2002, but they're deeply emotional now because we're still living with the consequences of this.
The museum wants to secure a complete collection of the photographs, images that Semendegger has waited years to share.
It's good to see that they've come out, even though it's taken this long, you know. The world should see the photos.
Brian Thomas, The Associated.